These mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, but my home is the lowland, and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer yearn to be brothers in arms. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out the amazing Dire Straits song called Brothers in Arms, of course featuring the great Martin Knopfler on guitar. It's a little bit of an interesting one for me to teach this one because it's lots of different fills. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go to a close-up and show you the chord progressions first of all. It's really important that you understand what's being played behind the solo. And then I'm going to take you through each lick one at a time. So I suggest you're probably going to want to tab it out as you go along so that you can remember each section. There's quite a few things going on that are really, really difficult to teach. A lot of volume swell, so using a volume pedal to swell into a note and off a note, which I'm not going to try and do during the lesson. So I'm just going to show you the notes, which leads me to the next thing that's really, really a big deal. You're going to have to listen to this one a whole lot, okay? You need to get the sound of it in your ear, and you need to listen to it lots of times to try and get all the little subtle things. I'm mainly going to be talking about the notes, some of the little kind of tricks going on, the subtle things, but you need to be listening to it. You need to hear the way it's played, how softly and delicately a lot of the notes are, because a lot of that is the beauty of this song. It's not just about the notes. So that's something you really have to do just by listening. Sound-wise, a lot of people associate Martin Knopfler with playing a Stratocaster, but all of the clips I've seen of him playing this song, he's doing it on a Les Paul, so I've got my Les Paul out for this one. I'm plugged into a Sir Badger 30, which is just a clean sound, and all of the little crunch that I've got going on is from a Nobels ODR1 pedal with all of the knobs pointing straight up at 12 o'clock if you want to try and get that sort of sound. I think the original recording is played with a lot higher gain and played a lot softer, so I think he's using a very loud amp and just playing really delicately to get that kind of softness, but when he plays a bit harder it brings out a little bit of the gain. So that's something you might want to explore if you're really going for that Knopfler tone thing, which is a difficult bag. So I hope you really enjoy this, and let's get to a close-up and check it out. So let's look at the chord sequences first of all. The intro sequence, which is also used under the solos, is starting with a G sharp minor to an E chord to a C sharp minor to another E chord. And it's going to do that sequence 3 times, for the intro anyway. So around one more time. And then the last time, it starts the same, G sharp minor, E, but it stays on the C sharp minor for a bar, then it goes for 2 bars of G sharp minor. And then into the verses, these mist-covered E to F sharp are a home now for B, sus4, B. Okay, now what I'm doing here, just to explain, you could be doing these mist-covered E to F sharp. Doesn't really matter, it's not a guitar part that's playing this, so you've got a little bit of freedom as to where you play the chords, but it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then to B. Now I'm using this, the B down here, B sus4, and then the B here, which is just this B chord, but I want this note on top, so you get that nice little da da bum going on. My home is the... Now I'm hearing this chord in the piano part too. This is an F sharp major chord with an A sharp bass. Okay, so I'm using my thumb to play the bass note. You could do it as a big bar like that as well if you're not used to playing the thumb over thing. That version would be 6, 9, 8, 6, 7, 6. Okay, so it's like a C-shaped bar chord, but with playing the bass note on the thicker string. I tend to play it like this: the thumb playing the bass note at the 6th fret of the thicker string, third finger on the 8th fret, first finger on the 6th fret of the third string, second finger on the 7th fret of the second string. Okay, and just those 3 notes on the chord and the bass note. But my home is the G sharp minor to D sharp minor. Now note there with the G sharp minor, I often play it again with the thumb over, but you can play a regular G sharp minor there if you want as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to E, 2, 3, 4 again to F sharp sus to F sharp. Same sequence again, G sharp minor to D sharp minor. Your valleys and your E, 2, 3, 4, F sharp sus. To make G sharp to an E chord to F sharp with the sus if you want. So one more time through the verse. These mist-covered E to F sharp are a home now for B. Put the little climb in if you want. My home is the lowlands and always will E. F sharp sus to F sharp. Someday you'll read G sharp minor to D sharp minor. Your valleys and your E. F sharp sus again. You'll no longer G sharp minor to be E chord to F sharp sus to F sharp. Da 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 da. Then we're back into that sequence that we had at the intro again. Da 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 ba ba da dum ba da dum. So that time it's a little shorter over some of those solos. So just have a listen to how many times through it's doing the G sharp minor to E, C sharp minor to E, and when it's going to hang on the C sharp minor at the end, and then go back to that G sharp minor for a couple of bars to let things settle before the next verse. Okay, so let's get cracking into the lead guitar part now. So the very first lick. Okay, we're sliding up to the 6th fret of the 5th string. Then 6th fret on the 4th string, 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and then back to the 6th fret on the 4th string. Then 6th fret there again, then 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and 4th fret. Okay, that first lick. Again, these are really subtle, these notes. They've played some of them very quietly, so make sure you're listening out for, you know, how hard or soft you should be playing them. The next lick. Okay, so it starts off mostly on the 3rd string, 3rd, 4th, slide up to 6th, back to 4, 3, then 6th fret on the 4th string, 4th fret, and then 6th fret twice. Again, those two notes are really close together and they kind of blur a little bit, you know, the way it sounds. Then 4th fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 2nd string, and finishing that phrase on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. Now the next lick is a little bit interesting. It's got a volume swell on the bend, which is the 6th fret of the 3rd string, tone bend. Okay, but that first note sounds a little different because it's got a swell. As he's bending the note, you don't hear the attack of, you hear it just kind of swell in with the volume. 6, 4, 3, 6th fret on the 4th string, 4th fret, 6th fret, then back to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, twice on the 6th fret of the 4th string. Then you hear another, this has got the little volume swells on it as well. 4th fret, 3rd fret, I think it might even slide. like that from the 4th fret to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. And then it feels like it wants to end there, but he doesn't play that note and just goes 6th fret on the 5th string and then twice on the 4th fret. So that whole intro. Again, in the little intro I did the little lick there which comes from a different part of the song just to make it kind of sound like it was working. So we're into verse 1 now. So the first lick, these mist-covered mountains. Okay, we're 6th fret of the 3rd string, tone bend, release it, flick it off to the 4th fret and play the 6th fret again. Our home now for me, there's no licks here in this part here, but my home is the lowlands. And again, this is really good exercise to make sure that you know your chords. They're the D sharp minor, so it's really notes from the chords going from the 8th fret to the 6th fret with a flick off and the 3rd string, and then 6, 8 hammer on. Will be to the E, still no fills here. Someday you'll return to. Okay, now we've got 8th fret, another, just notes from the chord. Those two notes. 8th fret on the 3rd string, 8th fret on the 4th string. Your valleys and your farms, you'll no longer yearn to be brothers. Lovely little lick this. So he's playing the 6th fret of the 4th string and then the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, letting those two notes ring together. It's right where there's an E chord, funnily enough, so it's two notes from the E chord again. Then 4th fret on the 2nd string to 6th fret on the 3rd string. And that's where we're back on the F sharp. So now into the solo, the first solo. Okay, most of that we've seen before. So starting off with 4, flick off to 3, this is on the 3rd string, then 4, slide up to 6, 4, 3, 6 on the 4th string, 4, 6, 6. Now there's this really tasty little lick, again you need the volume pedal for it, but it's the 6th fret of the 3rd string with some vibrato but swelling it in with the volume pedal. So after that, the swell, I think actually it might slide down, I've got a little note there, so slide to the 4th, 3rd fret, 6th fret, 4, 3, then onto the 4th string, 6, 4, 6. Then 4th fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 2nd string, and finishing on that note there for the C sharp minor. And I think there's actually this note here, which is the 4th fret of the 2nd string with a volume swell in and out of it. Okay, into verse 2. Through these fields of destruction. Classic, great Martin Knopfler lick, this one. So you start with your first finger in the 6th fret of the 3rd string, second finger in the 7th fret of the 2nd string, then you're putting little finger down on the 9th fret, and then you flick little finger off, but you play both 2nd and 3rd strings first, and then you play them again after you've done the flick off. Then you've got 6th fret, middle 2 strings, and hammering the 3rd finger down in the 8th fret of the 4th string. Baptisms of fire. Now we've got this beautiful little climb. 2nd string, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Again, it's got volume swells on all of those notes. Gets really beautiful. I witnessed your suffering. Again, make sure you see it around the chord. There's the D sharp minor. This is 7th fret to 6th fret flick off. 8th fret on the 3rd string, back to the 6th fret, and then 8th fret on the 4th string. Lovely lick. Witnessed your suffering as the battle raged higher. Okay, then we're up to the 9th fret of the 4th string. Very, very quiet, that note. And then 6th fret of the 3rd string. And though they did hurt me so bad. There's so many classic Martin Knopfler licks in this. So this is 9th fret to 7th fret flick off, on the 2nd string that is, and then 6th fret to 7th fret hammer on, and finishing on the 8th fret of the 3rd string. No, they did hurt me so bad. Great lick, this one. Okay, 9th fret to 7th fret flick off on the 2nd string, then 6th fret to 7th fret hammer on, finishing on the 8th fret of the 3rd string. Again, make sure you see how it's related to that D sharp minor chord. You could, if you want to be economical, like it with the shift there personally. In the fear and alarm, then we got 4th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret. All of that's very quiet and with some volume adjustments as we're going through on that part. Now we've got this lovely bit where he's echoing the melody again. Okay, 2nd string, 5th fret, 4th fret, onto the 3rd string, 6th fret, 4th fret. Then we've got the same thing we had before, where we've got 6th fret on the 4th string and 5th fret on the 2nd string that ring out together, and then 4th fret to 6th fret. Beautiful line. And then we're into solo 2. Okay, so we're starting off with a tone bend on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. Release it and play it. 4th fret, then onto the 3rd string, 4th fret, slide it back to the 3rd fret. Then we've got twice on the 6th fret of the 4th string. Then we've got our kind of quite common lick. Okay, 3, 4, slide up to 6, 4, 3, then there's a tiny little gap there, 3 to 6 twice, 4th fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 2nd string, finishing on the 6th fret, and then we've got another little volume swell there, the last note of that passage, which is the 4th fret of the 2nd string. And now there's a nice bit where he plays along on, there's so many different worlds. This 2 notes here, 6th fret of the 3rd string and 7th fret of the 2nd string. There's so many different worlds. So tasty, this stuff. So sliding up to the 6th fret of the 5th string, then 6th fret of the 4th string, reaching up to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, 4th fret of the 3rd string, lean it over, 4th fret of the 2nd string to 6th fret of the 3rd string. So many different suns. Okay, this one starting on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 6th fret on the 4th string, and then 4 to 6, slide on the 3rd string. But we have just one world. So it's just great. Okay, so this is 5th fret to 4th fret on the 2nd string, 6th fret to 4th fret on the 3rd string, both flick offs, then 4th fret on the 2nd string, finishing on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. But we live in different ones. And then there's a, okay, you can hear the little gliss happening, and then it's an open E power chord, just the thickest 2 strings, open, second, second, which is happening at the end of that little section. And so now we're into solo 3. so tasty, this stuff, it really is. So this is 6th fret of the 4th string, 4th fret of the 3rd string, 4th fret of the 2nd string, then 7th fret on the 2nd string, tone bend, release, and flick off to the 5th fret with the 1st finger. Then we've got the big bend again on the tone bend, 7th fret, 2nd string, release, 4th fret on the 2nd string, 4th fret on the 3rd string and back, so a little roll over. Then hammering onto the 7th fret and another tone. Then 4, 6, 4 on the thinner string, flicking off from 7th fret to 5th fret on the 2nd string. Okay, just that much so far. Then we got okay, so 4, 7, 4, 7, 4, and I think it's all hammer-ons and flick-offs. So play the first note, then the 7th fret tone bend, relax it, 4th fret on the 2nd, still on the 2nd string, then move it over to the 3rd string, 4th, 3rd, onto the 4th string, the classic little 6, 4, 6, 6, which happens quite a lot in this solo. Then we've got 4 sliding to 6, and a really interesting little pre-bend going on at the 6th fret. So 6th fret tone bend, but do the bend first, and then release it. Then we're at the 4th fret, still on the 3rd string, and last of all, got that little run again. 4th fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 2nd string, finishing on 6th fret on the 3rd string. And the next, waiting for verse 3 there, we've got another little run there. Very, very quiet little volume swells on all of that. That's 4th fret on the 2nd string, 6th fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret, 3rd fret. And now the sun's gone to heaven. Another great little lick. This is the middle 2 strings, the 6th fret. Hammering the 1st finger down in the 8th fret of the 4th string. And the moon rising high. 5th fret to 7th fret with volume swells. It's the same part as the, but it's just the 5th and the 7th there. He's leaving off the first one. Let me bid you farewell. Oh, great lick again. So this is 9th fret, the 2nd string, tone bend, release and back to tone bend. Then release, hammer on, flick off, hammer on, flick off there at the 7th fret to the 9th fret. So just playing that very first note. Every man has to die. So on die there we've got this note here, which is the 4th fret of the 2nd string with a volume swell, and now a really tasty lick. Okay, so this is 2nd finger starting in the 6th fret of the 5th string, sliding up to the 7th fret. 1st finger goes down 6th fret of the 4th string, 6th fret of the 3rd string, 3rd finger goes down in the 8th fret, slide it up to the 9th fret, back to the 8th fret, and then down to the 4th fret, and then to 6. Beautiful, such a tasty player, this guy, unbelievable. Lovely. It's written in the starlight. Okay, so after the starlight, it's a 9th fret tone bend. Bring it back down and play it. 7th fret, 9th fret, and then another bend and release to bend. Now, really interesting part, he's sliding up here and you hear a flick off going from the 11th fret to the 9th fret. So nice. And then we've got 7th fret to 5th fret, and the 5th fret is the start of, which we've had before, okay? It's a lovely little part. So just one more time through that lick because it's so good. So written in the starlight. Okay, and now we're at the next solo again, so we're on to solo 4. So much good stuff going on in this one as well. So the first part, again, it's a lick that we've had before. So I'm not going to take you through that one, but this one, it's just so nice. 4th fret of the 2nd string, 4th fret of the thinner string, then 7th fret tone bend on the 2nd string, 4th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret on the thinner string, 7th fret on the 2nd string, 4th fret on the 1st string again, back to 7th fret on the 2nd string. Then 4th fret, 7th on the 2nd string, that is, and then 5th fret, flick off to the 4th fret, and finishing that phrase on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. Okay, now we've got the little bit with the double stop bends. Okay, so planting little finger down in the 7th fret of the 2nd string, and I use my 2nd finger for this. Some people tend to use their 3rd finger for the bends, but I use my 2nd, I find it more comfortable. So we're bending that 6th fret upper tone, releasing it, then 1st finger drops back to the 4th fret, but we're still leaving little finger down. 2nd finger goes back down twice and then off. So then we've got the middle 2 strings, 4th fret, 3rd finger going down in the 6th fret, and I think I can hear at the end that note being added in there, which is the 5th fret of the 2nd string. 4 to 6. There's a little bend thing going on there. It's very quiet. I can't make it quiet enough without my volume pedal. Then a little slide down from the 6th fret, or not from the 6th fret, to the 6th fret. 4th fret, and I think there's those 2 notes again, but very, very quiet. Then there's some muted action going on. You're going to have to listen to the original recording to pick out all of the rhythms of that. We've got the 6th fret, middle 2 strings, played together. Then there's a little, on the 3rd string, 6, 8, 6. Then the 6, sliding down to the 4th fret. Okay, it's a little bit tricky to get that one exactly along with the record because the rhythm's a little interesting, but definitely worth checking out. Now there's a few different versions of the ending of this, so the one that I've picked is one just because I really like the lick of it. So you can choose that. You'll have to do some transcribing yourself if you want to get one of the other versions of this song. But the lick that I like at the end, and that's as much as you get before it fades out, but it's a beautiful little lick. So it's 13th fret on the 4th string, 13th fret on the 3rd string, 11th fret, 12th fret tone bend, release it, release it, don't play the release, but release the bend, 12th fret, 11th fret on the 2nd string, 13th fret, back to the 12th fret with the bend. It's lovely. Okay, and the last little lick here that we've got, so tasty. 14th fret of the thinner string, 14th fret of the 2nd string with a tone bend, release it, 12th fret of the 2nd string, 13th fret of the 3rd string, then 12 on the 2nd string, 12 on the thinner string, 14th fret of the 2nd string. And if you want that very last little part, 11, 12, 11 on the thinner string, 14th fret on the 2nd string, 11th fret on the thinner string, and then a hammer on from the 12th fret to the 14th fret on the second string. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. It wasn't too fast or too slow for you. I'm always a little bit conscious of these ones going through every note one at a time, but I know a lot of people appreciate it, so I hope it was the pitched at the right pace for you. It's a wonderful job I get, getting to transcribe these amazing solos. But this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me to teach because there's so many things that are just about the subtleties in his playing. It's not just the notes. It's not like you just got to go at it. You have to listen to the notes, listen to his performance, and then try and pick up on some of those subtle things. It's a really, really good exercise. I know I definitely didn't nail it during this lesson because there's just so many things to remember as well as trying to teach you, but trying to get it, it's like the touch or trying to express yourself through it makes you play it a different way, and that's really what you want to be trying to pick up on. Learn the notes first. Notes are important. Definitely be playing along with the original recording for this. You're going to need to pick up all the rhythms because trying to describe the rhythms during a lesson like this of a slow ballad is really complicated. It'd be difficult for you to understand me trying to count it, So you're definitely better off just listening to it a whole bunch of times. One thing I forgot to mention during the actual performance was the picking. Now, it's not played with a pick. Mark Knopfler plays fingerstyle. He does, I think it's called chicken picking, which is thumb, first and second finger only. Very unique style. It adds a lot to the way he plays. Is partly to do with the way he's playing the notes there with the pick and hand. I'm not an expert in that style. I enjoy doing it and I love playing his songs that way. But I don't feel confident to tell you, you should be using this finger for that part. There's no really sticky technical moments in that song where you need to figure that out. So my recommendation would be just to find the fingering that's really comfortable for you. Explore using. A lot of the time I use my first finger. I use my thumb lying flat on the strings and the other finger's just sitting on the strings to keep them muted, and then I'm just using my first finger a lot. I'm not sure that's exactly how Mark does it, but that's what works for me in order to keep all of the strings quiet because as I mentioned earlier, part of this style of this song, which I haven't done for this lesson because it was too complicated to record, but is having your amp up really loud and then playing really softly. That's one of those things I think Mark Knopfler does. So at least that's the way that I found I can get a sound even slightly close to his tone, which is one of the greatest guitar tones ever, so it's a tough one to copy for any of us. So anyway, I really hope you enjoy this lesson, and I'll see you for plenty more lessons and a lot more Mark Knopfler coming up as well, and I'll see you for that and more very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye bye.